Welcome to Mr. Simcox ELA. Today we're going to be talking about context clues. So what exactly is a context clue? I'm going to move myself over here. Context clues are hints found in a sentence that a reader can use to understand the meaning of new or unfamiliar words. Okay, that's all good. What exactly does that mean though, and how can we find a context clue? I know that's what you're here for. Before we go into that, I actually have a short YouTube video to show you guys, and it does a good job of explaining what a context clue is. Wait for my computer to load here.
Realize that the world is full of cravens who pretend to be heroes.
Hi, Obi. You know Throne of Kings is my favorite show. Oh, craven is another word for coward.
A mind needs books as a sword needs a whetstone if it is to keep its edge.
Yeah, I guess there are a lot of confusing words in this show. Dear Tim and Moby, what are context clues? My English teacher says they can help me improve my vocabulary, but I'm not sure what she's talking about. Help! From George. Well, George, when we talk about context, we're talking about something's surroundings. You know, like the setting or the backdrop. Take a look at this picture. Can you tell what's missing by looking at the context? Heck yeah, a baseball. You can do the same detective work with words. Let me grab my Throne of Kings books and I'll show you. Yes, I've read them all. That's why I appreciate the show on a much deeper level than you. Anyway, when you see a word you don't know, it's usually surrounded by words you do know. So look at those words and see if they can help you fill in the blank. Take this for example. After dinner, a group of mummers entertained the guests by acting out the story of an evil wizard. You probably don't know the word mummer, but look at what the author says. The mummers entertain people and they act out stories. Can you think of another group of entertainers who act out stories? Right, actors. Mummers is an old-timey word for actors. Of course, there are different ways to look for context clues. Sometimes a mystery word can be defined by its antonyms or opposites. Take this passage. Unlike his genteel brother, Hubert displayed poor manners and crude behavior. The mystery word is genteel. From the context, we know that it's the opposite of someone who's crude and has bad manners. Right again. The word genteel describes someone who's classy and dignified, like that guy. You can also figure out a mystery word by looking for synonyms, or words that mean the same thing. Here, take this one. King Adenoid had married the comeliest woman in the realm, far lovelier and more beautiful than anyone in the 12 counties. Comeliest isn't a word we see too often, but let's take a closer look. First, it ends in the suffix est, like biggest, smartest, and richest. So the queen must be the best or most at something. But what? In the same sentence, it says she's lovelier and more beautiful than anyone else. Those are the synonyms we're looking for. She's the loveliest, most beautiful woman in the kingdom. Okay, just one more trick. Sometimes a mystery word will be surrounded by examples that can tip off its meaning. Check out this excerpt. Royalton City was filled with cathedrals, castles, and other huge edifices. Now, castles and cathedrals are both examples of big... Flying monkeys? No. They're buildings, Moby. A cathedral's a building, so's a castle. So edifices means buildings. That's true. Sometimes there just isn't enough context to figure a word out. When that happens, there's no shame in using a dictionary.
The thanes of these hibernal climes are mere vassals of the Iron Throne.
Oh, that's a funny ending. All right, my computer is going so slow. Let's see if we can get back to my slides. Here we are. All right. So that gave us a little more information about what a context clue is. Once my slideshow loads, we can go back here. So we just read that definition. So context clues, again, are just looking through the text and seeing if you can find clues as to what the word means. There's a few different ways to do this. The first way that I wanted to show you guys is by looking for synonyms near that word that we're wondering about. So context clues can be synonyms that are near the word you're confused about. And again, synonyms are just other words with similar meanings. So I have a few examples of what a synonym is in case you forgot. Synonyms for bad would be awful, terrible, horrible. For good, it could be fine, excellent, or great. And then cold could be chilly, freezing, or frosting. So just words that are similar in meaning to that first word there. That's what a synonym is. Okay, so looking for synonyms around that word, that's our first strategy for using context clues to find the meaning of a word. We're going to practice this by trying to find the meaning of the underlined words in these examples here. First example, it was an idyllic day, sunny, warm, and perfect for a walk in the park. So the word we're wondering about is idyllic, and we have sunny, warm, and perfect right near idyllic. Kind of describes what that idyllic day is. So using these synonyms for idyllic, we can determine that it means warm, peaceful, and happy. Let's try another one. Bill felt remorse or shame for his harsh words. Let's see if I can move myself out of the way here. So again, we have our word that we're wondering about, and then after that, it follows up that word with or shame for his harsh words. So shame would be the synonym there for remorse. So we could say, let me go here, there we go. So we could say remorse means regret or shame for something that you did that was bad. And we're just figuring that out, looking for the synonyms and reading the whole sentence. Okay, let's try another strategy. So keep having to move myself around here to get out of the way. So the next clue that we can look for would be antonyms near that word that we're wondering about. Okay, oh my gosh. So again, antonyms are just other words with opposite meanings. So the opposite of a synonym would be an antonym. Examples of antonyms, the antonym of bad could be good, sad could be happy, and then innocent, guilty. So they're just opposites. You guys, I'm sure have learned this before. But we can use antonyms to determine the meaning of a word as a context clue. So again, we'll go over a few practice examples here. First one, Marty is gregarious, unlike his brother, who is quiet and shy. So Marty is gregarious, unlike his brother, who's quiet and shy. So using our strategy of looking for antonyms here, gregarious would mean the opposite of quiet and shy, right? Because Marty is gregarious, and that's unlike his brother, who's quiet and shy. So gregarious means talkative and social, the opposite of quiet and shy. Next example. She was virtuous, unlike her evil and disrespectful brother. Here we go. Oops. So virtuous means good and respectful. Again, because we're looking for antonyms. Evil and disrespectful brother, well, she was virtuous, unlike that, unlike her evil and disrespectful brother. So virtuous would be the antonym of evil and disrespectful, which could mean good and respectful. I hope you guys are following along with this. So all we're doing is strategies, or all we're using is strategies. The first one is we were looking at synonyms around the word, and this one is antonyms around that word. Gregarious, unlike his brother, who's quiet and shy. Virtuous, unlike her evil and disrespectful sister. So these are just two strategies we can use to find the meaning of a word that we're confused about in a text. All right. So the last strategy I have for you guys would be an explanation. And sometimes you find a word in a sentence and there's just an explanation right after that word that explains what it might mean. So we'll go over some examples of that also. So first practice one. The team was elated because they just found out they placed in the semifinals. Okay. Well, we have that word elated that we're not quite sure about. But then it goes right on to explain that the team was elated because they just found out they placed in the semifinals. So think about what elated might mean based on that explanation we saw right after the word. They just found out they placed in the semifinals. We could see that elated might mean making someone feel very happy, right? That's an emotion someone might feel after they just placed very well in a contest, or in this case, the semifinals. Next example, it's no surprise he winced in pain after hitting his thumb with the hammer. Again, think about that. We have our word winced, and after that, it explains, well, kind of what wincing means. Winced in pain after hitting his thumb with the hammer. We all know how we might feel if we hit our thumb with a hammer. That explains what winced means. So winced means movement of your body when you're in pain. Okay. Let's see if we can go on to the next thing here. There we go. So I just wanted to end this lesson by saying that sometimes even the best readers still need to look up a word in the dictionary. Sometimes you can come to a word, you can look at the sentence before, the sentence after, and still not know what it means. In that case, you might need to look it up. Sometimes there aren't enough clues in the text to figure out what a word means. But I gave you 3 strategies right there to look for synonyms, look for antonyms, and then look to see if the sentence after explains what the word means. So synonyms, antonyms, and explanations. Those are our 3 strategies I wanted to show you today for finding context clues. So when you come across a word in a book, next time, see if you can use context clues to figure out what it means.